Wait, enduro mode, enduro, this is where we should be accelerating to the lights, because there aren't any wheelie control. Andrej, what's going on here today? A guy from Ducati called me, Poland. This is actually a cool story. And he says, you haven't ridden this Multistrada Enduro yet. I have ridden it, but you haven't ridden the new one. But when I rode the old one, I also rode the new one. Come on, just take it for a ride. I don't feel like it, because I've already ridden it. Come on, just take it for a spin. You'll see it's better, because the engine is better. Alright, fine. I'll take it for a ride. I'll do it especially for you, a video. It will be called Why Take the Multistrada Enduro Off-Road. Now, attention. Why is it a stupid idea to do enduro on top-class adventure motorcycles? Well, this vehicle, DSR, weighs about 250 kilograms. And imagine that you're alone. You're not alone. I won't do it just for the video. I actually have a theory that if it's not some kind of group hobby, but just a solitary one, riding a heavy adventure bike off-road is just plain masochism, nothing else. Because after all, it's a touring model. I get it when I'm out on an adventure and you run into something with your buddies like, oh no, we can't get through, but we got an obstacle. Well, then those motorcyclists are able to get past it. But looking for adventures just for the sake of like, I'll get myself stuck here and won't get out, I suggest finding conditions that the Multistrada, Enduro and all the adventure bikes are made for. So like some kind of gravel road. Even Andrej finally has a water crossing. Let's go somewhere. One bike will go faster than 20 kilometers per hour because then I'll go crazy. What about Philip, the Saudi guy? Saudi guy. Andres, we need to get going because the sandstorm is coming. This got dug up a bit. And it kind of rots instead of just sliding now. Apparently dust from Africa, from the Sahara, when it flies over the Atlantic, it fertilizes the Amazon like crazy. Awesome. All you need is a smooth gravel road. And I remember why it's like the Multistrada Enduro. This bike is just as pointless as it is cool. Because theoretically, why would you need an off-road motorcycle that weighs 1,000,000 kilos? And that's a question for all the manufacturers. Why do they make them? And a question for all the people, why do they buy them? Well, people buy them to ride them for touring, simply because they're comfortable. But the truth is this, if the Multistrada, well maybe, exactly, or a few others, well the Multistrada is unique because it's such a beast on asphalt, which we'll get to in a moment, but it's unbelievable that a motorcycle you see as a beast, a super machine for asphalt, the moment it hits gravel and you switch to enduro mode, damn, it just goes. And it's actually relatively easy to control. And here I have to admit, okay, fine, I'm glad I let myself be convinced, because this engine is really smoothed out. With the previous Multistrada at around 2,500 RPM, it was really very hard to ride. You had to rev that motorcycle for it to work. Here, the torque curve is much smoother. This engine feels a bit lighter inside, so to speak. Much more user-friendly, not weaker, in fact, maybe even more powerful. So that's really cool. Come on, Philip, I'll show you all these things. It really works, because right now we're in enduro mode. I've turned off the traction control. But now, since we're on a curve, we'll try out how it works with different traction control settings. Engine power. In enduro mode, the power is reduced and the delivery is smoother, but it's the power that's reduced, not the torque, because in off-road conditions we need torque. Above all, there's no shortage of power on gravel. And DTC, this is actually, look, this is cool, because the more you give, the more modes you have. 8, if I remember correctly. Yes. And look, it's like this. It suggests to you that this is for wet conditions and it's safe, stable. And the further down you go, it's like the road, and even further down, it's off-road. The last two are for off-road, and that it's stable, and that it's performance. And that's actually not funny at all. Not that you know how to drive, of course. Hey, I'll do it like this, because Watson will cut off immediately. Let's see how the traction control works in Tribby Road on 5 to 4. Here at the exit of the corner. Then I'll switch to off-road mode on 1, because that's what we use during the test at full power. Sometimes on off-road, meaning with traction control. On 1, it was funny, and then I'll turn it off and it's a 3.1 run. And here we also have ABS, yeah, ABS 2, all right. Actually, look, I always ride with ABS. On 1, I never turn it off on the front wheel. It's not even about the fact that these are street tires. But the truth is, even off-road, even on knobby tires, we were riding with ABS on hard-packed gravel, because it works so well that you just squeeze the brake and it simply slows you down. We can feel it as well ourselves. Only when the terrain is really hardcore or the surface is loose can we try to turn it off, but I haven't come across such a situation yet, at least with this ABS. Then it doesn't work. Quick shifter, nice suspension. Man, look how much there is to say about these bikes, because, you know, the suspension is semi-active. And of course, there's a cable here, and there's a cable in the back as well. The preload can also be adjusted electronically in the back, because in the front you have to do it manually. But really, why even bother touching that? It's the same here, you see. Besides the fact that now in enduro mode, the suspension works in enduro mode, you can also additionally set it to softer, medium, harder choose between performance or comfort. It's insane. Which one do you choose? Honestly, I just leave the suspension as it is, because the differences are so minor that it's just a gimmick. On asphalt, you feel it more, you know, whether it's uneven or smooth. The bike just floats more or is more stable. But off-road, well, that's what the enduro mode is for. Maybe if I were riding over some routes, I'd set it to be a bit softer. But, you know, this isn't a professional enduro bike. Here, we don't need to mess with the settings, because it will only affect our lap time by 1/10 of a second. So I just leave it as it is, right the way it is, take the corner and see what happens. And which mode are we starting with? Now? Yeah. We're riding in enduro mode the whole time, because it's about throttle response. One person was riding all the time. Oh, do you hear that, Pat? Because it's ride by wire. Here you have a potentiometer, and here you have a little motor that opens the throttle body. And I know someone will say that's crap because it's all computer controlled. But the computer, when working with traction control, it knows exactly how much to give so that the motorcycle slides just right. What? I will present it soon. Okay, Andrew, thank you. Then record it. I record, you record, everyone records. Tomek takes photos. Oh, they take pictures. I'm taking photos right now. If something is coming, shout. Let me put it this way, I was heated and foolish because I was supposed to start off with traction control. I have to admit, this is one of the easier systems to operate. Let's set the traction control to 4, to the middle. As you can see in the attached image, the motorcycle did. Here I gave it full throttle and it went bop, 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 bop. It held the traction and just took off. Jack Rancher, did you see how it was breaking loose? You felt it bop, bop, bop. From my perspective, I heard and felt that it was bop, 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 bop. But it wasn't like the motorcycle suddenly, you know, one just flows. It just went bop, bop and got out of it. So let's put it this way. And what if we switch to off-road? To second gear or first? First gear. No, wait, in a moment we'll show how it is now. Traction control, because this traction control, it really helps you ride smoothly. Seriously. Yeah, that's right. Well, let him sleep on it and say now the traction control is useless. Let's assume. I don't know how to ride. True. Oh, the motorcycle has road tires on. I don't know how to ride. I'm on road tires. I've got a motorcycle with almost 140 nanometers. Well, 120 something NG. I'm riding through a corner, I lean in and start sliding sideways. If I don't close the throttle stupidly, then I just get pop, pop, pop because it's sliding sideways. Simple or not simple? Super simple. And with traction control, you can even do donut. Well, yeah. Traction control doesn't completely ruin the fun. You can't, with the effective traction control system, everything remains perfectly cool and stable. Traction control in mode 1 lets you embarrass yourself at the motorcycle rally without worry. I'm trying to lift it up by myself, but that's not how you have to. Because it's a shame, this one listens differently. Well, he's gonna lift it, it'll grow from there. But look, it's good that you turn on the hazard lights. Andrej now, because he's riding with me. Ah, no fool, come on! And now you should pay attention to the fact that, look at the footrest and the lever. The gear shift is in enduro mode. So if you do this, nothing happens. If you do it here, you also have an aluminum panel, and again, not much happens. These handguards, I know from experience from the environment, if you hit them a bit harder, they break. So maybe let's show what happens. When you turn off the tractor control, who put me in emergency mode? Straighten up. He's been lying down for a long time. He says, oh, better turn it on yourself. I'll turn it on myself, you. Start it. Once. Alright, it doesn't affect the power. Show what you're doing. I had to pay extra for it when I lifted it. Well, that's interesting. You've already put it in? No, absolutely not. Oh wait, right. Best regards. I'm engineer Tomek. Thanks. It's simple. I had to pull it. It didn't break, it just disconnected. And now riding mode. Enduro DTC OFF. That's staple. The message is clear. Once you learn, it's cool without traction control. But to learn, it's nice that there's such traction control. Let's go to the asphalt, because honestly this motorcycle really rules on asphalt. Does it really? Can it do a stoppie? I think I did, but it doesn't like it. Let's not do that to it. The Rosterka doesn't like it either. And which modes were those? The last one was sport. I think it was obvious, right? Well, listen, that's the truth. The Multistrada is for that if you buy a Multistrada. Wait, where? In Warsaw, in Poznan, not in Tri-City, because in Tri-City there are curves. Anyway, you have to get to a corner, at least a few hundred kilometers. That's probably why you buy it. Multistrada. I know, like Multistrada, it goes around corners. And here's a note, Multistrada Enduro, because I already wrote it back then a long time ago in the test. We'll even provide a link to this test because the chassis hasn't changed their geometry. They changed the geometry from S, and I claim that Ono is... This geometry is nicer to ride than the 1260S. Because the wheelbase is longer, the front wheel is bigger, and for me that actually helps with changing directions. But the key thing is the bike is more stable, we're more able to control that power, a bit more on our own. And here you see, without traction control on asphalt like this right here, it would happen almost immediately. I mean, perhaps not truly immediately. I would simply ride at a very gentle quarter throttle and just smoothly roll through. And if it were to slip, I'd certainly be able to competently handle it without any significant issue. As long as I was focused, you know, just like that. But here it came back and that was it. Man, I really regret that we don't have, you know, some corners here. Because this motorcycle, honestly, is one of the best handling touring SUVs out there. You can really lean it over far. Maybe I'll dig up some videos from the 12, from the 1200, from the 1200 Enduro. That was in Sicily. Man, we were riding so hard there that the panniers were this close to the asphalt, you know? It annoys me that when I try to be critical of Ducati, of the people who work at Ducati and all that, unfortunately, sometimes I'm wrong. I grumble that these bikes are pointless and all that, but then I get on and I'm just happy when I ride it. Damn. I'd call that a lack of consistency, but you didn't do a wheelie, where if Tomek finds me a road where nobody drives, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for her. You'll do it for us. I will. Happy now? Filipek is like a kid. You have to do a wheelie for him, and oh, very nice, very nice. I mean, well, it's not. It's relatively easy to do a wheelie on it, but it's not the most pleasant feeling in the world, you know? Can you do it sitting down? Yes, but you can't see anything here. It's very aggressive, so you have to be really careful. There's the throttle and here's the beast, and it just takes off. You really have to be super precise with this motorcycle. Sum up this bike in 3 words. Why the hell do I need this bike? No, that's 4. But honestly, to answer the first question, why the hell do we need a Multistrada Enduro? There are a few arguments in favor of this motorcycle. I think the first one is this flag. If you want to have a unique motorcycle, after all, most eyes are drawn to Italian bikes, and right now Ducati is definitely the best of the Italians. What more can I say? This is a motorcycle for people who like something unique. I wouldn't believe in the Multistrada, in the idea of the Multistrada, if I hadn't been many times in places with truly exceptional roads to ride. And there you can genuinely see that the Ducati Multistrada is starting to seriously make its mark. It's starting to appear solidly in the adventure segment, all because of its features. It's handling, well, that's something we couldn't see today. You'll have to take my word for it that this motorcycle is simply outstanding for riding through twisty roads. And besides that, the name Enduro surprisingly is not an exaggeration at all. I remember how I laughed when I rode it for the first time. At the presentation, we were actually riding over rocks, over Sicilian cobblestones, and I thought, damn, a Multistrada here? It's gonna fall apart for sure. Surprisingly, it didn't fall apart very quickly, and it was really fun. And you can see that here too, on sandy terrain. You can even ride a beast like this on completely road tires, and that's probably all thanks to this fantastic electronics. So the Multistrada, well, I definitely wouldn't kick it out of my garage. I'm trying to keep my distance from it because it's really very expensive. A motorcycle that's very heavy, gets really hot, and that somewhat disqualifies it when it comes to riding in the city during summer. On the road, it doesn't bother you, but that's just on the road. Tomek said the same thing, that when it comes to for long highway rides, if you line up a bunch of motorcycles in front of us, the Multistrada will be at the top. It's all thanks to that engine, which you can really enjoy. It lets you cruise at very high speeds for a long time. And it gives a nice massaging feel. The sound is pleasant, and the vibrations aren't annoying in any way. In fact, there really aren't many. Because at cruising speed there aren't too many vibrations, since this motorcycle runs at fairly lazy revs. So for long trips, this motorcycle is truly enjoyable to ride. As we've seen here, if you take it off-road on light terrain, you'll have just as much fun. If you take it into heavy terrain, it doesn't make sense, but people do take heavy motorcycles off-road. And it will manage there just fine if you put on the right tires. It will definitely handle it. So the Multistrada, well, it's an alternative. What more is there to say? It's an alternative to the GS, because if someone doesn't want to have a GS, then the Multistrada really seems like a great choice. That's basically the goal. For Ducati, just like for any manufacturer, to take a bit of the GS's market share. My advice is go. Take a ride yourself, see for yourself. And give it some time, because it's an unusual motorcycle. You need to go take a ride on the expressway, really feel it. And then you can review what I said and comment on it. I'll be curious to hear. Best regards, it's me, Andrzej, signing off. Bye. Oh, I didn't do, good morning. I didn't do the hi, it's me, Andrzej. Hi, it's me, Andrzej. Man, how could I forget hi, it's me, Andrzej? Because you caught me off guard with those. What did I ask? At the beginning, Sonny, there was no hi, it's me, Andrzej. So say it now. Hi, it's me, Andrzej, and I'm sweaty.